really going to be a great competition. Right now we're watching 30-second warm-ups. That means each girl gets 30 seconds to try and warm up every skill in her balance beam routine. It's best to just get up there and try and learn to relax.
And you know, at this event, there's a very strong point to be made for the Soviet domination of the whole sport of gymnastics, but particularly the balance beam event. The two Soviet girls coming into this competition, as you get a look of Nadia Comaneci on the left there, Sharon Valley, our judges, and the beam competition, that Shushanova has a 9.95, Kolesnikova has a 9.9. Now, there are 6 other gymnasts in the competition. All of their scores are only 9.45 to 9.6. They're way behind the two top.
And just to make a point about what you were just saying, Bart Connor, in the team competition,
we have 2 of the strongest Soviet gymnasts ever right here in the stands. This is Olga Bicharova, who was the world champion in 1981, and the 1983 world champion, Natalia Yurchenko from the Soviet Union. Both of these girls, world champions, and yet did not qualify for the final round of competition today. They're not good enough anymore.
Not only Bicharova, but there's another young lady I was reading about, Olga, well, that's Bicharova there. We saw her, I believe, in the United States in April in the competition, Baraksanova. And that was another young lady I was trying to think of who did not make it. That shows you the depth of the Soviet team. But we were talking a little bit before we recognized those young ladies, Bart, about the scores, and you were saying the 2 top scores in the competition are Soviets. Well, in the team competition, there were 5 scores, only 5 scores over 9.7, and they all belong to the Soviets.
Well, of all the events, though, this is where you can make up ground the easiest on balance beams. It's very easy to give away a 10th here, 2 tenths there, and some of the girls can stand and move up in the standings.
This has been, though, Kathy, the lowest scoring event of the 4 events in the women's competition. Why is that? That's unusual.
Why is that? It's because that piece of equipment is 16 feet long, 4 feet off the ground, and not quite 4 inches wide. Need I say more? It's very tough, and when there's a lot of pressure, it's hard to just focus in on exactly what you want to do. If you'll remember, this is where Shushanova's problems began.
Yesterday, yes.
And we have been talking about Shushanova all along. She never makes mistakes. Well, she made 2 major ones in the individual all-around competition. I know she's really going to try and focus in on what she wants to do.
There's another point to be made here as well, that normally the gymnasts, there are 8 gymnasts in the competition in the finals. They are seeded. The top 4 and the bottom 4 are drawn at random, but at least the best gymnast gets to go up last. In this case, the top score, 9.95, Shushanova, is actually up first.
And she had a 9.95, as you said. 3rd appearance for her today. She already has 2 gold medals, 1 in the vault, 1 in the uneven bars.
Now, as I said, Shushanova can really be solid as a rock here. She had her problems yesterday, though, and it was on this pass coming up. Very difficult pass. 2 layout step-outs in a row. Look at that.
No problem. I think she's here to show the rest of the world that she is the top. Oh!
Slight balance error there.
I remember both of you saying that she looked a little tired when she made the mistakes in the all-around competition, but she's got a good night's rest last night.
She still had 2 slight bounce breaks. Can you believe that move? I mean, that is near madness. A full twisting back handspring swing down.
There's not much room for error on that. We've seen the girls do that skill, but not with a full twist before.
She's the first. Now, Shushanova doesn't have quite the grace and style as some of the other Soviet gymnasts on this event. But she makes up with it nerve. She's got nerves of steel. Comes her dismount. Round off, double back, slight hop, but I'm sure she's much more pleased tonight.
Yelena Shushanova, one of the 4 returning members of the Soviet team that won the World Championship in Montreal last year. The other young ladies are Mlyanchik, Yurchenko, and Kolesnikova.
Now here's a replay of that full twisting back handspring swing down. Right into a chest stand.
She made a good point in her feature, in her profile, that talking about to be the best in the world, you have to challenge all of the new difficult moves. She certainly does that there.
A 9.95 would assure her of a gold medal in this event. It's not going to be a 9.95. 9.7 is the top, the bottom rather. 9.9 is the top. We'll wait the average score from the 6 judges. She doesn't look like she's too happy with her performance there. We do have the low score of 9.7 there, so that may be the reason for the wait. 2 9.7s, a 9.8, and 3 9.9s.
But you have to understand that even though the scores are way up in the 9s, that these Soviet athletes are not pleased unless it's a perfect 10.
She had a few balance breaks in there. So.
Some of the East German women's team looking on.
They look a little disinterested, actually, don't they? Like, what are we going to need to do to beat these girls from the Soviet Union?
Yelena Shushinova, 2 gold medals already today. She would like to pick up a 3rd right here on the balance beam. But remember, Vera Kolesnikova, who comes into the competition with a 9.90, has still to do her routine. Again, we have that situation where the top scores are leading off, an unusual circumstance in gymnastics.
I think it's difficult for the judges as well. The first competitor out of the blocks, they're usually a little hesitant to throw the big scores, especially if the routine is that excellent, because the judges want to hang on to those big scores in case there are some more outstanding performers later up in the rotation.
And they're well aware that Vera Kolesnikova is coming up.
We saw a shot of Vera Kolesnikova standing there looking at Yelena Shushinova, so just like in the all-around competition, it came down to a battle between the Soviets as who was going to finish first or second. Why are we having this problem again, the 9.7, 9.9s, the disparity in the scores?
Well, had she nailed a perfect routine, I'm sure the score would have gone right up. But she did have those couple of balance breaks. They're not quite sure what to do with it. They still got 7 other gymnasts to come.
That's
but
right.
They know she's one of the top.
And the important point to make here is that the judging is subjective. So when there is a minor break in rhythm or a minor bobble in the exercises, the judges have an opportunity to take from 1/10 of a point up to 3/10 of a point. So some of these judges are more strict, and they're taking a bigger deduction for a minor mistake. So I think that's where the controversy lies. I don't think it's a question of difficulty. It's more a question of execution, and that's a subjective thing.
Number 3, you see her standing, waiting patiently. That's Luo Fang. And it's just as hard for the next young lady standing around waiting to perform as it is for the young lady who's just performed, because you're ready to go, and all of a sudden you're put on hold.
In fact, quite a few of us will remember from the '84 Olympics in Los Angeles that actually happened to Julianne McNamara. She had to wait on the podium for how long, Kathy? Wasn't it?
Almost 10 minutes.
Almost 10 minutes waiting for the score. And I'm sure that's when your nerves really start to build up. Because if you're actually ready to go, you step up there, you hate to have to wait.
And it's probably worse on the uneven bars because the girls chalk down the bars. And that's important, that the chalk is there and you do your routine on chalking it down just before you go up there. Again, that's Luo Fang of China.
Maybe this is good for her. She's getting a little extra practice on the floor, doing a couple of full turns, trying to stay loose.
Let's look again at, as we continue to wait, the score for Yelena Shushinova right there. This is a replay.
Here's the 2 layout step-outs right in a row. That is a very difficult move. 2 aerial moves in a row.
And you saw the little break there. 9-7-7.
Another little break here.
7.75. They finally come up with a score that gives her a total of 19.725. She is the current leader, but remember, Vera Kolesnikova, who also comes into the competition with a 9.9, will be coming up. And we'll be back with more Goodwill Games coverage after this.
getting tired of hearing it, but it continues to be true. That is, the Soviet gymnasts are, in fact, dominant. Bart Connor was with us on our late-night program a couple of days ago, and he said he feels that the gap between the rest of the world gymnasts athletically and the Soviet Union is growing even wider. Not so much that the U.S., East Germany, Bulgaria, Romania are doing poorly, including China, because as you can see, there's some pretty good gymnasts, but that the Soviet Union has simply really got it going. Finding and grooming young athletes for a career in gymnastics has become something of a science here in the Soviet Union, and one reason is not so much a state secret as it is just a well-established tradition of grassroots.
It's not the facilities or the hope of great riches that draw Soviet children to gymnastics, but whatever the appeal, many start early and stay with it as long as their abilities permit. Access to good coaching and a vast network of gyms is part of the inalienable right of talented young athletes in the Soviet Union. Through the 15 republics, there is a system that identifies potential champions and encourages them through the ranks of local, city, and republic competitions until the weeding process has reduced this open-ended search to a handful of world-class gymnasts. The Soviets consistently produce a crop of internationally high-quality gymnasts due in part to the strong association in their country between sport and national pride. Here, athletics is thought to be a form of expression, not only personal, but also political.
Our school perhaps is famous because our students won several medals in Olympic Games and in European and World Championships. The majority of coaches here are graduates of this school, and after attending the Institute of Sports, they come back because they're proud of the standards we have established here.
Very important, when you have one champion of the town, this boy or this girl must be example for the other in this town.
He went on to say, the champion of the Soviet Union is like a hero to all the other gymnasts. We try to spread such a champion's image to every corner of the Soviet Union.
In our city, Vladimir, you might say gymnastics is in first place. We have a lot of youngsters involved, practically the whole city, and we give more time and attention to the ones that show promise. We have more good prospects coming along. They watch our champions, and I think we ought to be turning out more champions in the years to come.
It's impossible to stop the creative process. The level of achievement will not just stop. If you invent something new, if you get a higher level of results, someone is sure to try and top you, to invent something new.
It would be gymnastics in the air. Now it is gymnastics on the apparatus. But it's more and more, it's go gymnastics like a flying exercising. Flying of the mind, flying of the heart, and flying of the body of gymnasts. So this is, I think, great time for gymnastics, and I'm looking for the great success for the future.